Hey, I'm here with Dale from the SNAFU podcast, and we actually got the pleasure to play today.
That's right.
And you came down from Minnesota. If you guys are watching my channel and you haven't heard about the SNAFU podcast, then you are missing out because it's awesome. It's all bolt action, whole thing.
So far, it will be that way too.
So it's going to be the Japanese Army against my 82nd Airborne. This is an interesting scenario. We start in the middle. I have to deploy 3 units within 6 inches, and then he gets to put all his infantry anywhere on the board, but it has to be 18 away from me. And then his armor can come in on turn 2. I have a first wave, so he can't get too crazy. He could, if you wanted to push it, be back here, it would start some stuff, but it would be kind of a bloodbath right off the bat with first wave stuff coming in. So it's going to be exciting. I'm looking forward to it. Any thoughts or wisdom, Dale?
No, we're gonna have a good time.
All right, yeah, I agree. So here Dale's still doing his deployment. First, this board was provided by Josh Dunn and the gang from Sioux City. I think this is actually Josh's table. This church is a pretty amazing piece of scenery, and nice looking. This road right down the middle poses a little bit of a problem for me because I don't have much of a vehicle. I have a machine gun Jeep is all. I've got in that house on the far side of the street, I've got my 8-man veteran submachine gun squad. I am a little concerned about his tank coming in and putting an HE pop on me, but it can't come in until turn 2. And I think it's only a light and a tank gun, maybe a light howitzer. But I'm just in there temporarily at least. I've got this unit in this church courtyard. It's one of my 6-man squads with a light machine gun and bar. And then I've got my recoilless rifle kind of right on the edge of that wall facing down the road. Yeah, this wall is a bit of an issue. I don't have my air observer on or anything because I want to try to use him correctly where I need him and not just immediately. And he would have had to start right in the middle. We're just discussing some terrain rules at this point. We're going to consider this church as 3 separate buildings. So you could run into 3 different sections, the one down on the end, the big middle section, and then the tower section. So we're going to play it like a continuing building. Once you're in it, you can run from one end to the other if nobody's in the way. Then other than that, we've just got some dense terrain. We said the trees in the tree stands are dense and they'll block line of sight. And there's just some walls and some rocks, and then we're going over his guys. And I think these 2 guys down here by the church are both veteran squads. And then he's got 2 more squads up there. So I have not played Japanese very often, and I know we had Dale and the gang from SNAFU. We went to dinner the night before, and we kind of found out we were playing each other. I know I, for one, was looking forward to this quite a bit. I wish I could have played all the guys from SNAFU podcast, just because they all seem pretty awesome. And I think it'd be very enjoyable. But I think they played a couple of guys from, I think Tim and Ryan, and then even Alan played some SNAFU guys. So I think everyone was well represented in playing across the way. And so I was really wanting to play Dale's Japanese force because Dale, I think, I know he just had played John Stentz to a draw the game before. And I listened to their podcast quite a bit, and it sounds like him and John Stentz often play to draws. John Stentz is a very good player. And so if you are playing John consistently to draws, you are a capable player. And I want to see how Japanese perform under the hands of somebody who knows what they're doing with them, or has a plan of knowing what they're doing with them. Oftentimes you see Japanese players bonsai really early and just kind of like bring their guys in to close combat a little too soon. Here he fired a mortar shot at me. Here I'm getting shot at with his sniper. Now Dale does hit my recoilless rifle with his sniper, and that's when I think, because the recoilless rifle is a different looking model and it's on the round base. I think he believed his sniper would kill it outright, and then I explained to him it's not a mortar, it's actually in the artillery section, it counts as an artillery piece, and he understood that. I go ahead and bring my mortar in right there. He understood that, but I think he was disappointed. But he did cause a pin, and he did kill one crewman on there. And his sniper right there didn't have much else to shoot at anyway. So I don't think he had anything else to shoot at much for that turn anyway. So I think these guys are veterans. He's moving right now. He's moving them up. Now he can't bring on anything else until turn 2. Whereas I have everything coming in, but there's not going to be a lot of shooting. They got this church with the... So what I've done so far is I had moved that 6-man squad out of the courtyard back a ways, and then I brought another 6-man squad with a barn light machine gun in right next to them. Here he does throw a bunch of rifle shots on the house and is able to put a pin on. I do have the 6-up, however. There I'm just showing him these fancy pin markers from Historique. So I had to put one of those on my veteran submachine gun squad, because I think they're going to be pivotal to the defense of this token. The mission is get the token. If you own the token and you have not lost more than 50% of your infantry or your army, then you will get a major. If you own the token and you have not lost more than 50%, or you have lost more than 50%, you get a minor victory. To control the token, it's not one of those ones where you hold it and then flip it. Those seem to be much harder. It is, you just need to control it. And to control it, at the end of the game, if you have a model within 3 inches of it and your enemy does not have anything within 3 inches of it, you own it. So here I hit these guys with my recoilless rifle. I had placed it in ambush. I still had a pin on me because I had placed it in ambush prior to, and I am very happy that I scored hit, although there's really no cover. It's just the pin marker. And I give them a bit of a wallop. It does not, I mean, all of the Japanese infantry are fanatic. So that was very happy. I need to eliminate units. I don't have a lot of big bang items. I have a light, basically a light howitzer and a medium mortar. Don't have any, and I have my airplane. So here, this is where I was a little bit torn. Okay, I really wanted these gliders up towards the middle. 12-man regular squad. His infantry squad had moved aggressively across, and that it's just open from there. It's a large squad. I know my submachine gunners cannot stand out against 2 whole squads. So I decided to give them some relief, and I bring these gliders in. And they're all on rifles. The movement, no -1 is great. So I'm basically firing on long range. That's it. So I put a lot of shots down range, and I'm able to kill a couple guys. These guys run into this church, into the center section. They can reach that window. So they are in the middle section of that building, and that's a veteran squad. So he's got a veteran squad there, one in the road, and then that one right there by that orchard that I did not shoot at yet. My submachine gun squad for this turn, I may have went down because I didn't feel like my submachine guns would be in range, and so I just went down. And so now he's bringing on some other. He brought in a. He's got another infantry squad back here, I believe, behind that wall where he's measuring from. Yeah, they had started back there. So he's deciding to shift his focus with them to the left. And so we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 infantry squads that are really hard to get rid of. Not to mention he has a few items of, like sniper, lieutenant. I think he had some of those. I'm not sure if he had a suicide team or not. He may have, but just put him in the back to preserve the order dice. Oh yeah, he does. He does. There's one up there on the very north end of the board by that tree. I know he's got one there. So I brought my lieutenant in behind the little rock outcropping, and I brought my air observer back there. And then, so now I'm thinking about, what my things need to do. If the gliders can move up and nail that squad again, and then it's basically my submachine gun squad, 1 versus veteran, I'm okay with that. He can't just walk past me because I'll come out of the building and hit him with a bunch of submachine guns. I think we're going to turn 2. Oh, I don't know what that guy is. I remember we laughed about it. We said you need to have somebody in a tower. Oh, he's a mortar spotter up there, I think. Yeah, he's a mortar spotter, and the mortar's right down behind it. But, so yeah, my submachine guns are okay against his veteran 1-on-1. So then that leaves, if the gliders can nullify that squad and then move back into the center, I think I'll be evenly matched with him. I'll have the 2 6-man squads. I have an 8-man squad with rifles. And where are they at? Oh, they're right in the middle, behind all those trees, behind those little lava rocks. And I'm not sure what we're doing at this point. He pulled a couple of somethings. Oh, we're probably going through that phase of the game where you're pulling dice and putting stuff on your reserves. So here I make a blunder. I'm thinking if that tank comes down the road, great, I will have a bazooka ready, right? But what did me and John do at the very first part of the game? We talked about his sniper shooting my artillery piece, and I totally forgot about the sniper at that point and just ran my bazooka right up there. And then I run or advance I think one of those is a lieutenant and one is an air observer. I do bring them both. I bring everything in. So sniper versus bazooka, it's never good to feed somebody a target. But he's got to hit and he's got to get a 5 to kill. But it's just not good to give him a target. Now the biggest problem at this point is these guys in this church. Once bonsai people can get in range, it can be brutal. I do have these nice walls here if I can get in positions. I can't move and get in the positions I want and fire. And that's the catch. When somebody starts to move in aggressively, you got to be ready. I unfortunately wasn't all that ready. I had moved those guys back. I should have, when I had started that squad, and I should have just advanced over the wall. I was worried from where I deployed that they wouldn't make it over that wall, and I didn't want to be caught in that courtyard. So I ran, and I tried to run through the gap. But here's my Jeep. So I do have that as an anti-tank asset against a Japanese tank. It can hurt it. So I move it in there and trying to be careful not to block my glider shots, but provide me cover from the road. So if the tank comes down the road, it doesn't just zap my... actually, I do shoot at that with the heavy machine gun. And just checking some range there. And that was actually see, Dale's a savvy player, right? So I go to roll, and Dale's like, "Can you give me an exact range check?" Which he's entitled to do when I'm firing at him. And fortunately, I was about 12.5 inches away from from those guys. because yeah, it could have. He just wants to know what his options are, and you know the Japanese can bonsai, or just assault if they need to, because they do. If they do bonsai, they do have to assault the closest visible enemy, which I believe would be my submachine gun guys in the house. But yeah, wants to know his ranges. Don't blame him for that. Alright, so yeah, we're going to start turn 2. At this point, you know, I don't like the board, and I don't like that I have no cover leading up to the token. My submachine gun squad in that house is great, but it can't hold off everything if they come from that way. I don't really have anything else to support it because there's nowhere safe to be, so I'm kind of huddled back along here. So I need to get up into basically what I should have done at this point was actually focused on the church. I should have let the submachine gunners just hold off those 2 squads as long as possible, and maybe instead of the 12-man coming in, just have my Jeep and my oh no, I hadn't gone down. It's okay. I should have just had my Jeep and my a 6-man squad hold the right flank. I should have the 12-man in this church, and I could have battled through the church, and then I would have owned the courtyard, and then I could have owned the token. That would have probably been the best play. But so we're start turn 2, and I passed an advanced check. Now this is not usually recommended, right? So it's a gamble. I'm taking a gamble. So I'm doing advance out through these different doors and windows of this place. I've got a lot of submachine guns. I'm not too horribly worried about hurting that unit to my right. I mean, I'm going to put some shots on it. But I'm denying a close combat from the veteran squad. I feel like it would have been a wash, and I feel like it would have been a wash that Dale would have accepted, because he then would have owned the roadway and the approach to the roadway, from the roadway to the token, and he could have swung his other squad and different things around behind these trees, and then hid behind them until it's time to claim the token, or pushed me even farther back, and I would have been kind of screwed. So I decided to make sure I saved that squad. I moved them out. I spray at those guys. He didn't go down because I think he's hoping that he would be able to charge something this turn and inflict I think the same mindset is just try to destroy that one squad, and he would probably be home free for a win. Yeah, because looking at the video now, what I should have been doing was just holding with them and moving everything else up this long board edge into this courtyard, fight through the church, and then be along that wall inside the courtyard, and then I would have really had some dominance on the board, because later in this turn Dale moves a medium howitzer in at the bottom of this road, and that thing really just commands the center of the board. It just cuts my army. It basically cuts my army in half from the roadway without. But anyway, so I roll like a champ. I devastate that squad with my submachine gun fire. I believe I rolled quite a bit above average, but I need a force to hit, because no movement penalty, long range for the submachine guns. They're going to 10 shots for just the subs. I don't take any movement penalty for the rifle, so my percentage of hitting was pretty good, and those were regular. But he's fanatic, so he doesn't break or anything. And then I believe his veterans in the roadway fail. He doesn't want to do a bonsai because he kind of would have to go across the wall, and he'd only be able to go 6 inches, I believe, and because he has to go towards the closest, or he just was trying to do an advance and do some fire, and his veterans fail a order check with 1 pin, I believe, and go down. Oh, yeah, I believe so. Sorry, I was talking and not paying much attention. Oh, he was asking about if he shot out windows, what I believed it would be, and there's quite a few windows in the middle of this church. So, I mean, with 2 guys each, he's got eight guys that can fire out. So they decide to do that. And I have hard cover. And I don't go down because I need to punish things in the middle. I don't have a gun shield. I'd be facing the wrong way anyway. He does score a hit, but fortunately he does not kill another guy, which would have caused me to make a check, and I would have had -1. I'm going to... Well, I did go down. Yep, I did. Okay, so that makes sense. Well, he didn't kill him off. Yeah, just preserving it as a threat keeps the tank from just bailing down the road at full speed, I guess. He is trying to zero in with his mortar. So he hit targets that 6-man squad, which kind of sucks. I don't have that many infantry. He hits like quite a few. And here's where he hits them all with +2. He kills half of them. But I think he did 2 pins. But I am stubborn, so at least I test on a 10. So, and I pass. So that's good. I don't like that squad right there, though. You know, I would rather them be some. They still have a light machine gun in the bar and an NCO, so they still have a little bit of firepower for a 6-man squad. I realized I took off the wrong model, so I'm leaving my NCO. I didn't, because I rolled the check without an NCO loss penalty. So I had to correct the models. I mean, I only have a bar and a light machine gun and an NCO anyway, so the other guys are just riflemen. But I had accidentally removed the NCO model, so I replaced him. Now Dale is contemplating what to do with his veterans. He probably didn't expect me to move out of that building, and neither did I, actually. But he can't get to me. That's really the nice thing about submachine guns, a whole squad of submachine guns, is if he gets too aggressive and comes up like in between the alleyway, if I get an order die, say come out and hose him. I suppose he could have maybe ran into the building, which would have sucked for me quite a bit. But I do have, I still have that recoilless rifle there, and I still have an airplane, which I haven't called an airstrike on. And you don't really want to be in a building if you get hit by a 4-inch HE template, because that's 3d6. So he moves into this rough ground because that hedgerow is there, and he's behind the wall. He's going to, with that angle, he can get some shots. I don't think his whole squad can see me, but maybe it can. But he's just rifles. I'm pretty comfortable that my veteran skin will deflect most of the damage. He does have a movement penalty, and I'm not sure if I had cover at all from that angle. It's hard to see from this camera angle. We talked it all out ahead of time. I always, Dale gave me his opinion, and he asked me for confirmation of that before we rolled dice, which was a smart way to play. It really just keeps any controversy from happening. You know, make your cases for things before you roll. And he didn't do anything to me. Maybe another pin, because I am in a dangerous spot there on a movement dice and not on a down. You know, out in the wide open. So I get an order dice, and I'm still at this point not sure. Other than a plan of feeding units into the token turn 5, I don't have much of a plan here. I wish I did. I get these guys to move, so that's good. And I advance them up to the edge of the wall, so they're out of that gap. What I want them to do is to be in a position to be able to go into an ambush. I want them in ambush. This squad coming down this tree line, the wall. I have a recoilless rifle on them, but there's another squad scurrying across the road. I can't shoot everything with the recoilless rifle, and so I'm gonna go ahead and fire at that squad that's running across the road, and I'm gonna put a light machine gun on them. I've got a pin marker still, and I got a movement penalty and a long range, and I'm firing across this wall. So it's going to be 7s either way. The veteran squad is on a down order because they failed, you know. So I figured I'd maybe try to put a pin on that squad. And I don't hit, obviously, needing 7s. But I really just wanted to get them out of that gap in the fence and try to get them in an ambush next turn. This other 6-man squad, they're not in a great spot. You know, I'm back in this corner of this thing here, and I'm not sure where to go. There's no train down here to hide behind. So these guys, I just took that pot shot at. They go ahead and they do an advance. You just measuring the farthest guy and the closest guy, and then you can just move them all up in after that. I think he's not so much measuring. When you get these big squads, as I found out running my Romanians the other day, you know, it's easy to clump up if you don't and not pay attention to your 1-inch gaps, and then one template can make you realize that was a mistake. He's going to put some pot shots down, I believe, on the recoilless rifle. He is concerned about it. I mean, this tank, I'm not sure what the armor is of that tank. It's probably not good. I do have +2 penetration. Oh, yeah, and he had sniped my bazooka first shot of turn 2. So that was a pretty bad blunder by me. Even if the bazooka never killed his tank, having it back there somewhere, even like back kind of over where my Jeep is, behind those trees, having it available to kill the tank is more powerful sometimes than. Because I mean, look at this recoilless rifle's commanding respect, and it's just a +2. If I had a bazooka, and yeah, that damn sniper. I haven't fired my mortar yet or anything this turn. He has not brought his howitzer or tank, or I'm not sure what else. I think that's what he has. The only thing he has in reserve. But yeah, he's pulling a lot of order dice, and I'm actually okay with that because I want to figure out what I'm going to do as far as reacting. We do have an 8-man squad back here in these trees, and that's going to be basically my token push guys because don't have much else. And then the 12-man glider squad. So the 12-man glider squad and the 8-man squad are the guys I'm going to be counting on to. My submachine guns can hold the right flank and then push up the road to the token. The gliders do have anti-tank grenades, and I do have the heavy machine gun jeep. So if I can get lucky and knock out that tank, not that it's a huge deal. It's got 2 medium machine guns on it. It's just fully enclosed armored, so you just have to be able to hurt it. So I get a dice, and the regulars. I'm going to go ahead and find my mortar at them, and I'm rolling my fancy WahooWarrior dice. Get a range check there, and I roll a 6. So I believe, no, I missed. I got a 5. Spoiler, I hit them on the next turn because I know I do hit them. So trying to zoom in, because that way at least I'm using this 50-point mortar to try to whittle that big ass squad of regulars down, and that will it will start to even things up if I can take a unit out. My 8-man rifle squad and my gliders are not in the best position. Like I said, they should be coming through this courtyard, then they'd be engaging the enemy right away. They could have moved around the left side of the church and took out his mortar, and eventually his howitzer, which is back in the back left, and engaged the infantry at the same time. I'm not sure what that was. I'm sure they didn't rally. It must be where they failed their movement. So yeah, it's going a little slow here. I could speed it up, but the first 2 battle reports that I put up, the first one was pretty rushed. When I got back from Bugeater GT, my father-in-law is in town for 3 weeks, and my wife had a lot of activities planned, and I had work. We're kind of short-staffed at work. We've got one in training right now, and I've got a lot of overnights and things. So Tony, my father-in-law, is staying downstairs, and we've got the kids and lots of activities and stuff going on. So I wasn't able to get to putting any battle reports up. And now that I am able to, the first one I kind of rushed it because I wanted to get something up. And the second one, when I went to do that, I realized I didn't have hardly any video, so I went ahead and just slapped that up. But in these games where at tournament level, me voicing over is pretty much the best way to go. I'll put a clip in here soon. Is this still speeded up? I might have slowed down to real time. Hold on a second. Yeah, it had slowed down to real time. No, God, I didn't think we were playing that. So we did get down to a time constraint, though, and I'll explain that later on. I don't feel like we were playing slow. We get 3 hours, which is like ample time, which I enjoyed. Some people probably don't like it. They like kind of the quicker pace, so you have more time off in the evening. It was pretty relaxing, though. But we did start to get in some time, and that time was kind of favoring me, so we kind of made sure we sped. I wasn't trying to slide. Didn't have any plan whatsoever. Wasn't slow playing. It's just we were conversing a bit and having a very enjoyable game, and then somehow it got down to kind of tight. So I do 2 things here at this phase. One, I moved that 6-man squad into that gap, and I fired some shots with them. Probably pretty stupid. I didn't want them in that gap. It would have been better just to do a run order other than take a pot shot down the range with a light machine gun. It's one of the things I do with light machine guns oftentimes. I put them in bad spots wanting to get that long range shot. That's my lieutenant back there, the 8-man rifle squad. So I moved them up there, right? And don't have any cover. It's just I guess my idea is I'm gonna go across the road, all the way across the road, maybe to the house, or maybe alongside the house, and I call in an airstrike on that giant squad. You see the little token next to it, next to the road. Here I decided to go with my Jeep against that remainder of a 3-man. I'm putting myself in a little bit of danger there, but I feel comfortable, and I hit with all 3 shots, and I kill with all 3 shots. So ace gunner for the Jeep. I think I'm safe from a charge from those guys behind the wall, because they are in that orchard, and they can only go 6 inches. I'm safe from them for the turn. So between the submachine guns and the Jeep, I feel pretty safe. Here comes the howitzer. Now the howitzer comes in. Can't fire this turn. Not good. It's just not good. Post game I tell Dale, and he wholeheartedly agrees, and kind of maybe suggested at first that I should have immediately started targeting that with my mortar. Immediately should have started targeting it with mortar. That way, it would eventually I would hit it, or it would be forced to move. And there's really nothing threatening my mortar. His sniper's out of range of my mortar, and I could have, minimized some stuff. So here comes the tank. It's got a front machine gun and a turret, I think light anti-tank, with the medium machine gun to the rear. So he spins the turret around backwards and fires 2 medium machine guns at the 8-man squad. I am comfortable with that. I'm on a movement, but he's moving long range. He does get a pin and kill 1 guy. And now I run my gliders across the road up over there. I don't pay a lot of attention to spacing, which is stupid. But with 12 guys and you're trying to get some cover, it can be difficult. So airplane does come in. So I can measure 18 away. So I'm going to put the airplane there so I can put some pins on that veteran squad, and I'm going to hit this squad. So I think we started turn 3. I'm really counting on the airplane to do some heavy lifting for me this game. Hasn't done much in the other games. A few piddly things, a few pins. I roll, I believe, ground attack aircraft, and we'll see if we use a template or not. But Dale wisely chooses to go down with those guys. But I'm putting pins down on all this stuff. So it's 6 inches from the target unit and 6 inches from the token. I get a big old blast path, but he's down, so it's going to have it. And it does put an additional couple pins on. I think I killed 3 guys. So I'm very happy that the airplane came in, and I'm snapping some pictures. And I'll post some of those up towards the end of the battle report. So yeah, that was very helpful, because that unit is now down, and I've got pins on the tank and pins on that more pins on that veteran squad. I think I rolled 0 pins on that veteran squad back there though, behind the wall. So what I should be doing right now is targeting that heavy howitzer with my mortar, or doing some I don't know. It's a kind of a nail biter of a scenario, and I believe Dale tried to. Not sure what we're talking about here. Oh, he's moving his tank up, and I do enjoy this aspect, and I should try to incorporate it more. Is that Dale declares his intention of what he's trying to do before he moves his tank. I mean, he's obviously on a road, and he's got tons of movement for an advance. And he just kind of clearly says, what I'm trying to do is move my tank up here so I can get a shot on those glider squad without any tree cover. How far do I have to go? And I like that. So we discussed it, and we looked at it. I decided not to go down, and he lit those dudes up with medium machine gun. He killed quite a few. You see me take that handful off with the twin medium machine guns. And I'm like, okay, well, that happened. Hopefully I can kill this tank with a recoilless rifle shot. I think I have a pin on me. I just need to if I clear that pin, I'll hit on a 3. I'll put D3 pins on it. I could kill it. The odds are not good. I'm only +2. But it could happen. Here we were discussing that what I just talked about when I moved the Jeep up was whether he'd be able to close combat. We both concurred that you'd have to go, you'd only be able to go 6 inches. He didn't think he would make it, so he did not do that. But so he decides to shoot at my submachine gun squad, and I take a casualty there. And although I don't really like some of the positioning of my stuff, I feel like things are going really well for me. I go ahead and advance this Jeep up since that squad had fired already, and I'm just trying to get up here for a later turn to, and I do have a nice shot on a 360 HMG shot to the tank. There's no cover. I'm able to hit it, but I think I hit it. Can't see if I put a pin down. I might have whiffed. But anyway, I was saying I'm pretty. I put that little 3-man squad in ambush. I'm pretty happy with my performance of my stuff so far. My positioning is hurting me a little bit. But I do start to run into some problems with some order checks. I think in this turn or maybe the next turn. And they're not big ones. They're just kind of that sucks, but when you get several of those, it kind of hurts. Here, he fires with his medium howitzer on my gliders, and I think I went down, and because he has a over-the-barrel shot on me, he's needing a 4, so I didn't want to risk that. I went down, and so he needed a 6 and missed. Yeah, that's a problem, that medium howitzer. My submachine gun guys, I have like 2 pins on them, I think, and I do fire my mortar, but I fire at that squad that had gone down from the airplane, I think. I didn't fire the mortar, and I didn't hit whatever it was. These guys here, they're going to run. So I'm very aggressive with them. I'm going to run them right up alongside the tank. Since his veteran squad is down, his other squad is pinned down heavily from the airplane. I have to stop an inch away from. So I'm okay with this move. I move in a way where I don't block the shot from my recoilless rifle, barely, to kind of be able to shoot at the tank. Because you just shoot at the model, not the facing. So it'll be a front shot, but I have the target. And it's a little bit of a crazy move, but I'm trying to mix some things up. I'm kind of thinking he did pass with his veterans there, so they did not go down. But and he shoots those guys, and I'm in ambush with both those squads. I should have moved those guys out of that opening in the gate. I felt a little bit frozen there with that squad in the church, and I decided to go into ambush because I actually thought he would react maybe towards the center, and I didn't want him sending that squad towards the center. And so, damn Dale. His mortar shoots those guys, and they're on that run. I did not think about a mortar shot. He needed a 6, and he freaking hit them. So that hurt. Fortunately, he rolled poorly on the killing me, and I think only one guy died. But now he's zeroed in on 2. He moves those guys into that end of the church, and he asks if I'm going to fire my ambush. I feel like he's baiting me a little bit, but I go ahead and do it because I don't want to be standing there anyway. But I should have probably not. I should have held with one. But as it turns out, it's actually very, 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 very pivotal. So it worked out in the end when we get to that part, because we don't even bother to move the models. We just agree that they are now in that end piece of that church. So I killed one man, and now he's within 6 inches of that 6-man squad. So if I would have been an ambush, I could have shot him like right point blank with a bunch of shots. But I went ahead and fired my ambush just because in my mind, I'm not going to be standing there next turn. I'm going to get the hell away from there. And we're just moving some kind of some of the incidental stuff. His sniper's kind of doing the foxtrot back there, trying to find a way where he can shoot past his own guys. That's a bomb man. He's got like one of those little torpedo bombers walking down the road. His other torpedo bomber guy had a chance to charge my Jeep one turn and then ended up going into the trees. Okay, so we're starting the next turn. And when it gets to a couple critical points, I'm going to switch the video maybe to live audio and see how horrible it is. So here I go ahead and move this Jeep up, and I've got to try to conk this tank out. And so I've got 3 heavy machine guns. I think I'm at point blank. I only hit with 1, and I don't penetrate. So I think I've got 1, maybe 2 pins on it. So that kind of deflated my sails a little bit. My recoilless rifle had fired also, and I needed a freaking 3, and I missed. So that deflated my sails. So, man, I didn't expect to kill the tank with +2 and +1, but I wanted to get maybe a crew stun result or something like that. Yeah, and here he's got a bonsai charge, which is like, because you measure, around. You can go around. You can run around an obstacle to go 12 inches. You would be able to go Simo if it was the infantry squad, if you aren't going in the direct path. But I was already on order, and I'm a vehicle, so he's able to assault me. He actually bounces off though, and because he has 6s to hit me. But then what comes next is a bonsai or an attack out of the church, and I'm going to slow that down to real time.
Looking for 5?
Yeah.
Mighty fine. Yes, to win, yes.
Says he has control.
Somebody get left in the church or can I kill one? You can shoot in there.
No, you might have killed one. You want me to reroll it?
It might have saved me 1 guy.
Alright, let's do that. We'll reroll. Alright, so 9s. So 5s. So 2. That does change it.
Yeah, but I rolled really good.
Well, thanks for saying something. I didn't even occur to me.
I still need to roll.
Nice.
Leave me alone!
Doesn't matter. Yeah, I killed 2.
I'm fanatic. Alright, so 4 guys.
Wow.
That changes it significantly. Oh, come on. That was good rolling. That was really excellent rolling.
4. Alright, so now we go Simo.
Yep.
Come on, Airborne. Still have 4, you still have your submachine gun.
Twice. Well, every time you shoot,
So we both drop 2.
Yep.
Take off my NCO and my light machine gun left. I actually gotta keep the bar.
I'm so sorry.
Come on, I go in with 9 to 6 and I strike first. Well done.
I'm rolling like a demon. So nothing. Up the fanatics, I killed 2.
Now we're even. This is really something. Alright, so one guy.
Okay.
Oh.
Alright, so I have the 2 attacks on 1 drop.
Nice. Airborne is coming through.
I needed 2 there, because that would have won. So you're
Come on. Oh, man. Well done. I can go 1 edge too.
Alright, so if you were able to catch that, basically Dale came out and wiped me out. And he rolled too many dice. So we re-rolled the whole thing. And he totally whiffed on the first attack. He killed 2 guys. And out of my 4 attacks back, I rolled all 4 kills. Which was, and he's a veteran squad. So I rolled all 5s and 6s. So then it went into Simo. And we started to whittle each other down. And the next round, he like killed 1 or something. And I killed like 2 or 3, so it ends up being his NCO versus my bar submachine gunner, my bar machine gunner at the very end, and he's got 1 guy left alive. So that was a huge change of events. Here's another big one. Actually, I want to talk about this a little bit. This is something I left the tournament thinking about this here. I'm basically going to call bullshit on myself right here. We were kind of trying to play faster because, and we just had this huge close combat. Dale shoots me with his howitzer, right? I'm not really thinking, and he takes so much casualties off, and I'm just kind of grabbing models, and I took off models that took me away from my lieutenant. I could have removed whatever, and that's no excuse. I should have, because I needed a 4 to survive, and without the lieutenant, and I rolled a 5, and then I checked the distance to the lieutenant, and he was out of range, and I asked Dale without thinking, like as a friendly game, do you mind if I just take off a different model, because I was just kind of removing it quickly, and he looked at it, he goes, well, taking off models is important, and he let me do it. And I'm calling bullshit on myself right here. I thought about this on the drive home. That's not normally what I do. Bolt action is a game of inches, it's a game of strategy, it's a game of tactics. It's a game of paying attention to these things in a tournament setting, because as we see, re-rolling stuff, every inch matters. Fortunately, I'm very happy that the gliders never moved from that spot again, nor did they take any more fire. So it didn't cost Dale any assets, but it does affect his tactics a bit, with that remainder of 3 guys with like 5 pins on them, because it's still there. But I'm just wanting to stop and apologize again to Dale. I apologize to him at the end of the game for that, because I don't normally do that. Sometimes I make errors. Like apparently when I hit that priest in game 1, I used +2 penetration on the top armor. That was an error that we discussed during game, and apologize to my opponent for that in hindsight. But yeah, I kind of was pulling. Yeah. I know that's one of the things about battle reports. They're not all. Sometimes you kind of can criticize yourself, your gameplay, and your sportsmanship a little bit. And anyway, just calling myself out on that one. But get back to the game. So there's not a whole lot that we're going to be able to do in all reality. It's going to be a bloodbath in the middle. I'm at the point. This does actually. He foobars with his, or fails an order check. He should have done like he said as soon as he rolled, he goes, I should have did a rally. He attempted to do a fire order and failed, and had to reverse 4.5 inches backwards. So it actually took his tank off of the token. And I think that probably caused quite a bit of stress on Dale, because as it stood, it's definitely a draw. He's got so here I'm just like, I'm in feed the beast mode, and I'm running my observer up and my lieutenant up. I'm just getting things in position to shove them into the breach and to get a draw. I don't think I'm going to be able to get his all of his assets more than 3 inches away. I don't have enough manpower to screen it off enough where he can't just assault and go through. I still got my submachine gun squad over there. Now here comes the saving grace, is another airplane strike, and it comes in on that veteran squad. He goes down to preserve them, but I throw pins down on his tank. I throw pins down on his, I think that squad in the trees. It didn't hit a lot of stuff, and it also, from where it came in, put some more pins on that veteran squad behind the wall up there in the orchard. Pins are important to put down against the Japanese when they're trying to actually maneuver. If they're just doing the bonsais, then it does not matter. But if they're trying to actually maneuver and shoot. So here in my Jeep, I decided to reverse him up a bit. Probably should have drove down the road. Actually, I do 2 turns and I can shoot behind me, so I'm facing away. And I'm going to spin the gun around and fire the heavy machine gun at those guys. Just keeping him from being able to bonsai, because he's got quite a few pins on him. So as it stands at the moment, I control the token with a down, what's left of an 8-man squad of veterans in the middle of the road. These guys can do a run order if they go 6 inches through rough ground, and they make it into the house, so that's kind of a pain in my ass. These guys actually pass a freaking order check with like, they roll a 4 with I think they're carrying 5 pins, and at that point we're kind of having a brief discussion. I'm not trying to end the game by any means, but that kind of surprised me, because the tank had reversed. The veterans had gone down from the airplane. The tank still has like 4 pins on it, so it could drive back in, and just contest the token. But we're getting towards end game. Those guys passing on a 4 kind of pissed me off. because Dale was playing for. We were getting close on time, and Dale's like, "We got to hurry up." So at this point, we kind of realized, since I passed my order check with my submachine gun guys with about 4 pins on them as well, and I just ran them, so I was able to screen off the objective. Even if we played another turn and his squad came out of the house and wiped out my airborne, I still have a observer, a lieutenant, a jeep. I have a recoilless rifle in range, and I have that 2-man squad on the other side of the wall that can move into range. On the other way, if I had somehow stopped him from getting out of the house and was able to kill the 4-man, he still had a tank that could drive into the objective. He also had a like a single-man bomb man right there next to the house that could actually contest. So it ends in a draw. We went to time on this one. It would have been a very bloody turn 7 or whatever it was. Final turn. We were up against a wall with the time. It could have, but you saw some of the dice going in this game. It could have gone either way. The key would have been trying to keep an enemy unit from getting within 3 of the objective. I think it would have been difficult given the manpower and resources that we still had towards the end. I mean, they have to stay an inch away from you, but see, the Japanese could bonsai. They could. I wonder if that's just infantry. I wonder if a tank could bonsai. Good question. But I mean, I don't. Since I just don't. With that squad passing on the needing a 4 and getting to where they were, it would have been very hard. Without that, I could have moved past the token and tried to screen it off, but then I would have been putting myself in bonsai range of. And he still had a veteran squad down there that could bonsai. So yeah, it would have basically been him winning some close combats, me feeding some crap into it. Like I said, my gliders didn't move again. They didn't do anything for us. The game didn't take any shots, but yeah, it was a good one. It was a good one. So we ended up with a draw, 10-10 draw. I think if I would have moved the veterans through the church, or the 8-man veterans and the 12-man glider squads through the church, supported by the other 6-man bar thing, I think I would have been much better off. Dale would have had to divert resources to battle. We would have been battling over this wall in the street, and then I could have maybe turned the tide and gone, and then holding that building, and kind of my submachine gun guys did their job. They held up the entire right flank. Didn't cause any much in damage, but the potential for them to cause, well, they did do pretty good that one round of shooting against that squad. I could have 2-on-1'd him there and just been cagey with my submachine guns, and then held him back long enough, and then I think that would have been the better play. But I was leery about the church. I'll tell you right off the bat, because I was thinking I did not want to be in a grind of close combat with dead bodies all over the church pews, of us charging back and forth through that church. I figured he would win that in the long run. Perhaps not, though. I mean, his guys don't have tough fighter. They just can charge. So I think it would have been okay. But anyway, it was a great game. I was happy to get a draw towards the end. At some point, boy, I tell you, just when me not knocking out that, or even trying to knock out that artillery piece, was pretty bad, because it really prohibited me from being in the road or up where the token is without getting pounded. And like that glider squad, when they took that hit, I didn't go down with them because I needed stuff in the middle at that point, and they paid a big price for that. Lost like half their squad. But yeah, the stubborn came in handy in a lot of roles for me. So, alright guys, thanks for watching. Hope this battle report is a little bit better than the other ones. A little bit more about what I was thinking, what we were doing. Thanks for watching. Some pictures. There's that Bane of the medium howitzer. Damn thing. Back there. And here's my squad when they kind of ran up there to get in front of that tank, and the Jeep getting assaulted. Yeah, I recall this rifle boy had a shot on that tank a couple times and just whiffed. Really nice looking Japanese army. Here's the battle at the Gap. Boy, that was huge. So yeah, me firing that ambush off, probably unadvised, did kill the one guy, which then caused us to re-roll the combat, and gave me a mathematical improbability, and I was able to grind that down to the NCO. That was pretty huge. And my dice came alive, and Dale's failed him. Nice picture of the veteran squad behind that wood line there, or behind that wall. I love this picture. This poor Jeep doing Dukes of Hazzard jump. He survived though. I couldn't believe it. I was on a move, so you need 6s to hit. There's my airplane. My airplane did great this game. Probably saved me the game in that my play was kind of poor, and the airplane did come in and do what it needed to do. And just kind of my battle line there. Protus rifle, it did okay. It's just not geared for tanks.